Good evening. It is Wednesday, June 14th, 2023, Flag Day. Welcome to the Town of Carmel Town Board meeting. This is a work session. If everyone would please rise, face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If everybody please remain standing for a moment of silence. Today is the day that our good friend, the Honorable James Reitz, had passed away. So in memory of him, if everyone would please, moment of silence. Thank you. So first off, I call this meeting to order. The town board met at 6:30 in executive session. We had a litigation update about a lawsuit that we are in the midst of. So Vinny, if you would play the video. First, we have a video from our representative in Congress, Michael Lawler, 17th District.
You have reached your destination.
I think he knew where he was going. Thank you, Congressman Lawler. That was great of you to do that on the floor. So we're going to start with our esteemed police chief, Anthony Hoffman.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board, distinguished guests, fellow first responders. Tough act to follow from the floor of the Capitol, but I'll give it a try. But before I do, I'd just like to acknowledge real quickly, this week, MoneyGeek.com came out with an article and recognized the town of Yorktown and the town of Carmel as the two safest towns in New York State. As a matter of fact, the town of Yorktown was the safest town in the country, and the town of Carmel was number 8. So two of our neighboring towns together in the top 10 in the country, quite an accomplishment. I've thanked Chief Noble over in Yorktown, and I've thanked our officers, and I'd just like to acknowledge that for everyone here. It was a great accomplishment. Moving on back to our acknowledgement of the life save. On Saturday, May 20th at 4:37 in the afternoon, Carmel PD units were dispatched along with Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department and ambulance Putnam County medic units to 288 State Route 6 Odyssey Gymnastics for a report of an 8-year-old who was not breathing. Within 2 minutes, police officer Thomas Egan arrived on scene and with other first responders took over life-saving measures from the gym owner and Good Samaritans on the scene including the application of an automated external defibrillator. P.O. Egan advised the dispatch that his AED was advising to deliver a shock, which was done immediately. After delivering this shock, Officer Egan, Sergeant Witten, Mahopac Volunteer Assistant Fire Chief Rivera continued CPR compressions and provided artificial respirations with a bag valve mask while ambulance medics and EMTs intubated and provided intravenous medications. Mahopac ambulance arrived on scene and ready transport to the hospital. The ambulance transported the subject to Westchester Medical Center in an expeditious fashion under the escort of Carmel Police with assistance from Yorktown PD, Westchester County PD, New York State Troopers, and the town of Mount Pleasant PD. And thankfully, our 8-year-old is doing well. She had surgery and she's doing well. So that's the best ending. To acknowledge those, and I apologize if I miss anyone, to acknowledge all those on the scene that day that participated. First, from the CPD, Police Officer Thomas Egan, Sergeant Laura Witten, Police Officer Michelle Yeager, Police Officer Brian Detz, and Detective Daniel Shea. From the Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department, Assistant Chief Gabriel Rivera, Assistant Chief Cal Trillis, EMT Jenna Maglieri, EMT Anthony Vitanza, and Lieutenant Will Kelly. From the ambulance, Putnam County medics, Alexander Dodd, Ryan Dennison, and PJ Kelly. And our civilians, our Good Samaritans, Laura Spallina, Marseille Boers, and Judith Schoen. So again, I apologize if I missed anybody, but thank you very much. Well, that's all I have. If any of our elected officials would like to acknowledge these first responders as well.
So first off, representing our congressman in the 17th District, Representative Michael Lawler, we have with us, with pleasure, Aaron Crowley, our legislator, well, my legislator.
Thank you very much, Supervisor. On behalf of Congressman Lawler and the Putnam County Legislator, we thank you so much to all our first responders and our Good Samaritans for your unwavering and selfless acts to make sure that this young lady's life was put first and taken care of. And without all of you put together, she would not be here today. So we thank you, and we are so proud to have you in our community. Thank you very much.
And our bipartisan friend, Peter Harcum, our senator.
Thank you very much, Mr. Supervisor, board members, police chief. Thank you. Congratulations again on your honor, fire department, everybody. This was a remarkable community event. If you think about it, it started with bystanders who were quick into action, a nurse who happened to be there, police first on the scene, fire, EMS. This was a remarkable team effort to save the life of a little girl. And it really speaks volumes about the character of the town of Carmel, that so many people at so many different levels were willing to get involved. You know, we talk about in our communities, oh, nobody wants to do anything. You did something, and you made an impact, and you saved a life. And then coordinating with the other departments down the line. This was a remarkable, remarkable thing. And I just want you to know the people of the 40th Senate District are incredibly proud of you. This was an amazing thing that you did, and I hope you take a minute to breathe and take that in, because you saved a little girl's life, and she's going to go on and have a lot of happy memories in her life, thanks to all of you. So we have a proclamation, we have certificates from the Senate for all of you, but again, on behalf of everyone in the New York State Senate, thank you, God bless you.
Thank you, Senator. And certainly last but not least, our Assemblyman, Matt Slater.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's great to be here in Carmel and to recognize, as what's been said before, just some heroic action taken by some great people. You know, I've got a 7-year-old at home, and I can't imagine being in a situation like that. We were actually at the town pool just yesterday in Yorktown. But to know that we've got people in our community who will have your back, who will be there for your family, who will be there for your kids at a moment's notice. Whether you're a trained first responder or just a bystander and a good Samaritan. That's what makes up this great community of Carmel. And when we talk about things, Chief, congratulations, one of the safest small towns in America, to what the Senator said before, that's the character that we see every single day in every corner of this town. And so we just thank God that you were all there. We thank God that the little girl is doing well, but we are especially grateful for the heroic actions that you all took. And knowing that you're here every single day, 24/7, 365, it lets people sleep easier at night. So know how much we appreciate it. We took time in the State Assembly to pass some resolutions. So on behalf of the Assembly, we have those here today to recognize the actions that you all took. And again, on behalf of myself, the State Assembly, and all of our partners in government, just a job well done. And please keep up the great work. Thank you.
So if everyone, you want to ask them up? Okay, yeah. All those people that we are recognizing, civilian and EMS.
These are all going to be in different order. Let's see. Tom. Yes. Thank you. There we go. We're in the same order. We have everybody? No, it's all right. You guys go. We just have the resolution. So, Sergeant Witt. Sergeant Witt. Oh, I'm out of order.
I'm out of order as well.
Here we go. Here's Brian. All right, Michelle. Thank you.
I have Michelle Yeager as well.
You know, I could hold off on videos, because I don't see them looking.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
So Assistant Chief Rivera?
But I could hold off on these two.
We'll give him to, yeah, we'll give him to this.
To the ambulance, right name, I got the third one.
Kyle?
Or I'll have to-
Thank you very much.
I saw Jenna.
Jenna? Great job, Jenna. Thank you.
Yeah, Anthony, Latanzi.
Thank you so much.
Will Kelly, that's easy.
Thank you.
People were in.
And Alexander Todd.
There we go.
Todd.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great job.
And Ryan Dennison.
Ryan, thank you. Congratulations.
Well done.
How about PJ Kelly?
PJ, here we go.
Thank you, TJ.
Great job.
Laura?
Laura Spinella.
Is Laura here? She didn't come? All right.
Risa? Force?
Yes, he's right there.
Here you go.
Of course,
Thank you.
gymnastics, thank you so much. We appreciate everything.
Thank you.
Thank you. Judith? Judith here?
How do you say it? Where's she at? Nietzsche. Nietzsche, yes. Nietzsche. It's way down. Picture that bad.
Nope, that's not. That's next one.
Nope, we don't need it. Nope, we don't have that one. There are Karen Tubman.
All right, so then we'll give you these
Some of
three.
you will move our chairs back, and they can come on the back.
Three for folks who are in here.
We're taking pictures.
Big group photo.
Okay, great.
Big group photo.
Do you want to take them?
Some of them will move these
Thank
back.
you.
Let some of you.
Got it? I'll just bundle them and deliver them.
Assemblyman is
Steve, we're gonna have some of them stand here and then some of them in the So some of you can come here and stand, and then some of you'll stand in the booth, okay? Come on, let's do
And some folks get are standing back, too.
Come in the back. Come on, back up here and stand up here, okay?
If they stand in the back, then I can't stand on my stick.
Right up here. Yep, up here. Get out of the way. Yes, I'm positive. Come on up.
Forced to make new walls.
The more you guys come up front. Do they need some more that needs up front? No.
Are you gonna give it back? Yeah, stand in front of me. That's right.
That's just mean.
Perfect.
Remember,
in the center anyway.
only good touches, remember that.
Let's start over here and then work our way over. All right, center. Left. Now more left.
There you go, Frank got me.
Thank you, everybody. Congratulations, thank you for saving us.
Thank you so much.
As soon as you hit it, can you go lower? Thank you, everybody.
Oh, good job. So you knew that.
Bye, Senator. Yes, thank you for everything.
Hey, we'll talk when this is all over.
Good to see you. Be well.
Congratulations on your police department. Good job. 'Cause you were in when it happened. Yeah.
I'll make candy next time.
Just make sure. I see you guys around with your truck around.
It's a weird room.
Move down.
No, wait, that's good. No, all the way, right? So I'm going to move Rich, number 8, to 1, which is why make him stay here. Actually, we should ask you two, do you want him to make him stay? We should vote. We should vote on, you guys vote if we should make Rich stay or not. No, Rich isn't done, because you got Judy first. Airport car. All right, he can go.
Thanks, guys.
So before we get back to the agenda, Councilman Frank Lombardi had a mediation this evening. It got pushed back, conflict with the time, so he's not able to be here, or else he would have been here for all of this. He will be joining us. Hopefully, he'll be done in time for executive session later. So if anybody in the audience would like to get up and speak for, I guess we have to move that back? Yeah, you think? Is it good? Anybody wants to speak? 5 minutes?
Oh, what you got?
Is that too far away, Bob? So Peter Gephardt, Carmel Hamlet.
Can we hear? Okay. Good evening. Just wanted to thank you for that great tribute to the officers, and I was so happy to be able to view that there this evening and see those people. I came for a completely different reason, but I was very happy to see that. I wish that the Assemblyman and the Congressman could still be here, the Senator and the Assemblyman, because I'm very concerned about an issue that's happening in the hamlet of Carmel with the DEP potentially wanting to raise the Belden House. We have a group called Friends of Belden, and also we have a lot of people in the hamlet of Carmel that feel that the Belden House is the most historic structure that we have in the community that goes back to the 1700s. It was rebuilt in the 1800s to give it a different appeal, but originally it was built in the 1700s, and sometimes when I view it in my mind, I can see horse and carriages there. And I think that what we have to try to do, and I don't know how we do it, but I want to tell you, I can do anything you ask me to do to be to intervene on the behalf and to lobby so that DEP, in fact, honors their commitment of 2005 to rebuild that building. They made a commitment. It was publicized in the newspapers. Frank Del Campo was Assistant County Executive at the time. They had picture opportunities in front of the bill, and the DEP has done nothing to honor their commitment. So to make it short, I just want to say, we're lucky to have the DEP in Putnam County because it's given us a lot of open space. And them taking those properties many years ago to eliminate the cholera epidemic in New York City created that open space, and they have very meticulously maintained their property, except the Belden House. They have spent a lot of money rebuilding dams and everything else, and I just can't imagine that they would allow any of their other infrastructure to deteriorate to the point of the Belden House. So I'm just here to say I would happy to work with anyone on the town board and try to lobby on our behalf so that we can hold the DEP accountable to their original commitment to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. And being that I live there, I'd like to help you out, whatever I can do, and I appreciate your efforts. Thank you.
I'm pretty sure that we can do a resolution, right? We can do a resolution supporting the Friends of Belden House and asking that they honor their commitment.
And maybe try and get the Belden House on the list of historical places that might start pointing us in the right
And
direction.
maybe we could lobby Harcum and
Yeah.
Slater, and right?
Yep.
It's support in its nature, because
Yeah.
it's their property, but you can do it. We do
Yeah.
it with the state.
Oh, we can't make them
agencies
do it,
on
but-
other,
Yeah.
on other issues pretty frequently. Sure.
So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
And it's nice to see you. So does anyone else want to speak? No. I ask that the board review the town board minutes from the 17th and June 7th, which we got the June 7th one today in an email.
Yes.
Rich Franzetti, I'm going to move 8 to first. That's the fattest stack. It's easy to find in your pile.
But it'll be the quickest one done.
Yes.
Good evening,
So
board
this is the award, the bids for the chemicals for our water treatment.
So yes, so bids were received on June 9th. They were opened by the town clerk on that date. A copy of the results are attached. The scope of work involves chemical supply to the various town of Carmel water and sewer districts. 3 bids were tabulated and identified on the spreadsheet attached to your documents. We recommend the following: that slack, based on the estimated quantities identified, would be $109,000, is for certain chemicals at certain plants as identified. Surpass on the estimated quantities identified in the contract would be $91,634.85. And coin chemical, based on the estimated quantities in the contract documents, would be $12,488. So there's a fairly detailed list. It gets very detailed, but we've done this a whole bunch of years. They're single-year contracts. We used to have unilateral. They're single-year contracts right now, and we'll be doing this again sometime next year at this time for a July contract.
Thank you. So, any questions?
Yeah, Rich, are we seeing a leveling off in the price increases relative to the last few years?
They're marginally higher than last year, so yes, the answer is yes, there has been a bit of a leveling off, but it was a little crazy there right after
Right.
COVID.
Yeah.
There was the big chemical fire at one point in time in Ohio, I believe it was Ohio, that really drove prices through the roof, so.
Okay, thank you.
If you would stay right after for Jimmy, I want to
I am.
talk to the about Woodard and Kern, all right? I will. Thanks. Next up is James Gilchrist, Director of Parks and Recreation, to speak about Airport Park, sir.
Good evening. So I was looking to give you guys a quick update on the airport park, and we have some major projects that are in the works over there. And the first was the field conditions. We had some issues last year where the fields were overused. We tried to aerate, seed, and fertilize from June through July. We had the fields all closed. But as you remember, last year it was very, very hot, not enough rain. So we had a clover issue from a lot of the exposed soil. So we left the grass high. The clover actually took over the 3 pads. So our plan for this year was to come in early. We fertilized, seeded all the areas that were worn. MSA Soccer was great to work with. They adjusted their fields. We actually closed certain areas of one of the pads. That's a center pad. We had signage out, and we asked people just to stay off the area. The grass did come back, not all the way, but it's coming back. Soccer will be finishing up this weekend. We're going to do our first application of clover control and fertilization next week, and then we'll have a second application of that in August, late August, early September. And then we'll wait a period of time after that, and then we're going to come in and aggressively overseed, aerate, and fertilize in the growing season in the fall. At that point, we might ask to maybe close some areas of the fields, so we'll let that get established for the following spring. So that seems to be working well. It is coming back there. The next item that we have would be the tree. We have a master plan for plantings and trees out at the airport park. We developed that earlier this year. I talked to Supervisor Kazari and Bob. We went through and we met with the grant writer about 2 months ago, I think it was. They went out, they were looking at different grants for replanting and planting in new areas for trees in our area. Most of them are urban revitalization, but we found the grant writer was able to find 2 grants. I'll be doing a conference with them tomorrow. One of them is with the New York State Parks Division. They have grants. They're usually 50-50 grants. So if you spend $100,000, you get $50,000 back. He's very confident that this work would qualify for that. And there's also a DEC grant, I think is a 100% grant. So one is due in July, the other one's due in the beginning of August. So he has an estimate that we had from a landscaper. We asked, if you remember earlier this year, we asked for some estimates. We turned that in. He's reviewed that. He looked at our master plan for the plantings. The tree selection that we had an arborist review what we originally thought. They changed things up, which is perfect for something like this. So Mike, the grant writer, is very confident that we should be able to get some funds there. On the planting end, if you remember, we had some gardens planted around the front of the building, the utility area. That work is going to be starting next week. We got prices earlier this year on that, so we'll have some nice shrubbery around the utility boxes and some plants out in the front of the building. The next item was the lighting of the parking lot. Supervisor Kazari and myself met with the county executive and the commissioner of highways from Putnam County, since we leased the park from the county. So we have to get an approval of any kind of improvements, of say putting up light poles or anything that's impervious there. So from that meeting, the county has another proposed project they're doing on that same site. So we had their legal counsel along with DEP and the upper end of the county highway department. We had a conference call with the DEP. They're requesting that the county do an audit of all of the new improvements that have been on the golf course, the airport park, the water tanks, everything that's there, because the list that they had was outdated. There's only a certain number of square feet that we can have out there, and they want to get that taken care of. So that's where it is now. I just checked with Tom Fury last week. He had Joe Bellucci send an email out to DEP, still waiting for a response. So we're going to go through that, get the approvals of that first. We went over, Mike and I went over the hours of the operations that we would be proposing to do that with the county. So we'd have to get some kind of an agreement along with them. And then we also, the suggestion was to do some public meetings out at the airport park with some of the neighboring communities, saying this is what we're planning on doing. Only for certain events, like for the concerts that they have at the golf course, they might be on a little bit longer so people can get back to their cars and get out. And then when we would have meetings during the week, there's really not that much on the weekends. So most of the lights, we can time these lights, they can go on and off, we can program them. So, and the other big item is that we were considering doing a solar, and they have a solar/wind turbine. We went out with the representatives. It's a perfect site for it. The prevailing winds come right across that whole area. I call it a strip, and that's where most of the energy would be produced, and then the solar would be also a backup for the batteries. One of the other concerns was the life of the batteries. They last approximately 3, maybe 5 years, depending on the use. So we're not going to be overusing them. They're not going to be on all night. So that could be in our benefit. But there are programs where they recycle them and you get new ones. The other benefit is you don't have to run wires through the whole area down there. If we ever made any adjustments, you could take the light tower down, pull the footing out, move it somewhere else if we had to. So those are some pros we're going at. The cons are they're bigger than right now. A regular street light's about this big. The light for what we'd be doing is about this big, but then you have the solar panel and you have the fan that's also on the top. But it's a little bit bigger. But it gives you that kind of an airport theme, which is nice. So as you can see, that's going to take a little while to get that through. The grant writer is also looking at any solar grants that we can get for these lights. I downloaded the NYSERDA grant application, and you're right, it's too much to really go through that, for what we'd be doing there. So that's where we are with the trees and the plantings. Going down to the playground, we finally were able to get specs together. We were in a unique position where we have the equipment, so when we were trying to get, with contractors, nobody wants to really talk to us because they make their commission on selling the equipment. So we were able to finally, thank God Nina was up at the conference, the state conference. She met with quite a few installers, and they also do the pour in place that we're planning on doing underneath the playground. So the plan is to go out with the poured in place safety surface along with the installation of the equipment as one package. Instead of trying, originally we were going to do an install and then have somebody come in and follow it up with doing the surfacing. So we're about 99% done with it. We've met with Rich earlier on. He gave us some suggestions to change things up. We needed more detail on concrete and footings and different things that were a little bit beyond what we're used to doing. So, and again, the stuff we're getting from the contractors was very basic. It was from other communities. And most of them are supply and install, where we had to break it all out. So the plan on that is to go out to bid probably the end of June, be about a 3-week bid period, which would bring the bids in by, say, the end of July, and have a install in sometime in August, latest early September. That's our plan right now with the playground. And we received that through Pete Harcum, the senator. That was a grant that we received there. The other item, another piece of that grant were the picnic tables. We're doing the metal with the poly plastic on the outside. We held off on that because they were almost double in price, and they have come down to where they were almost pre-pandemic. So we got prices earlier this year, so those should be coming in, within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So we'll have them delivered to site, and then we'll have our crew assemble. Those are similar to tables that we have at Camarda Park, Sycamore Park. And the ones at Sycamore, we've had those since 2006.
Yeah, they're
And
nice.
they really, they've held together well. And I'm trying to think if there's any other, anything else with the county. The millings that the highway department did, I think that was the end of last year. Yeah, because we went through the plowing season, night and day. They did a phenomenal job. They spread out, the ground up blacktop on top of the roadway coming in. We had some limited potholes through the winter. We went out with the Kubota, filled that back in, and it's really packed down nicely. So, I like to talk to them, see maybe if they can keep extending it in, because we do have an issue when you're coming in towards Scott Road. If we can get some more millings in there, and then eventually maybe into the parking lot. That was a huge difference. They did a great job out there.
That's great.
Yep.
Jimmy, just one question. The poured in place bottom of underneath the playground, does that get hot? Do you know? Because
Yes.
I've been on some that gets
Yeah.
really, really hot.
Well, we're fortunate, we actually, when we laid the playground out in the master plan,
Yeah,
if it's right up on the top, so when you're coming into the park, it's
I know.
near Scott Road. So
Yeah.
you have that area where the trees, they hang up there, and they give it nice shade for most of the day. But it is, if it gets direct sunlight, it's gonna be warm.
it's going to be hot. Well, I know Nina.
It's the same thing if you're on a track.
Yeah, like those art type things. Maybe later on you can look at those.
Well, that's what we're planning on
You know.
doing throughout the park.
Yeah.
That was part of our master plan with the trees.
Yep.
We eliminated the trees down by the fields.
Yeah, I know.
And we brought in those like triangular, it has one post that goes up and it has
Yeah,
like shade structures.
yeah.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
and Jim, I just wanted to say thank you for the work you do around the grant requests. I know those are challenging, but.
Oh, yeah, it's,
Yeah.
but believe it or not, I mean, I have great support staff in my office. To try to get a grant done, for instance, we're trying to get reimbursed for the equipment that we bought earlier this year. We're still going through the process of, now it's in the hands of the state. They will come back and say, all right, was this company on this list, that list, and it's, Mary Ann's on her pins and needles hoping to get that $100,000 check back.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you have a second career in grant writing.
No, it's having everybody together. That's what really, you need everybody pushing it along. You've got Michelle and
Yeah.
Mary Ann, they do anything we ever ask for. We have to give like statements and copies of blank checks. This is all required, and they're able to give it to us 1, 2, 3, so
Yeah.
it works out
Jimmy,
great.
thank you so much for the update. I really appreciate it.
You got it.
It's great.
Yes,
The
thanks, Jim.
park will look beautiful.
We're getting there, yeah.
It's getting
Well,
there.
it takes
It's like the
time.
other parks, little by little, we're plugging along.
Yeah, and we're very thoughtful and cautious about spending.
Yes,
And
yeah.
So, thank you.
You got it, okay.
Thanks, Jim.
So last meeting, you can sit there, you can go, whichever one. Yeah, you can sit up there, sure. So last meeting, I spoke a little bit about Swan Cove, just to touch base again on that. So we had a comprehensive site visit on May 17th. Our engineer was there, Steve Laurie was there, Daniel Windsor, Darren Stairs from Wood and Kern. And the purpose of that was to go over the site, to try to get a scope of what we're going to do phase one and how we're going to go forward. We talked about what we have to do with the bank, with the parking and the drive-through, and the hydraulics, and we talked about how the oil tanks have to get removed, and
We talked about some of the amenities that we were looking for in the park that the board had agreed to, that had discussed, and some of the amenities that the board didn't want, that were not originally part of the scope, right? So, for instance, the bridges, that's something that could be added on in the future. It's not something that would be part of the initial. So the bridge could be added in the future. You don't want to spend that money now. Putting it in now may not be, putting it in the future wouldn't be a problem, is what they were saying.
yes,
So-
and Councilwoman McDonough was asking me personally about, so the pier, we could add the pier. That can be a future thing when we, if and when we have the money to do the bridges, the pier, and all those things.
Correct. So some of those other amenities that are part of the plan that we approved can be added afterwards without impacting the functionality of the park when it's there. That's the discussion we had with Woodard and Curran while we were on site and what they're going to be focusing on with this. So they're aware of those pieces of the puzzle that are needed, but they also are aware of, they're also going to be cost conscious with it and understand how we can approach it going forward. One of it was, we talked about the existing fountain that's there. It needs some TLC, and so they're aware of that, and they were going to reach out to the original masonry company because there was a plaque on there for them. They're going to reach out to them and talk to them. We talked about using the rocks that are, a pile of rocks that are there as part of the continuation of the walls that are along Route 6N, to use them in the facility, to use them as use them in the park and going forward with it. We talked about, the water and sewer issues, not that there are water and sewer issues, but being able to run those lines now. We may not put the building up immediately, right? So, and we'd wait, but we'd have the water, the infrastructure in there, so you're not digging up a brand-new parking lot and a brand-new park to say, okay, well, I got to put sewer in now. All that would be part of this first phase to get us to the point where then we can, do it as we have funding. I mean, that was the discussion. I think there was a summary that Woodard and Curran prepared. The next piece of that would be then talking about doing the lighting along Route 6N there on the other side of the street to match the ones. We have those lights here in storage. And then to do Cherry Lane, right? It's Lane. Cherry Lane, to beatify that and go with it from there. So that's the kind of phasing. So there's going to be phasing within the major park and Chamber Park itself, and then phasing to go to the next two, which would be the lighting of 6N and Cherry Lane. So.
I know, I was asking the supervisor, Rich, what I'd like, even though we may not be doing the bridge right now or not be doing the pier right now, I still want it included. Because what I'm afraid is going to happen is it's going to get lost in the years to come. So if you have the entire plan there, the entire plan is there, but I don't know how they can do it, like you put PH1, phase 1, this would be, but have the pier listed there and say that may be phase 5 or phase 4.
Correct.
But what I'm afraid of, because I didn't see this 6-foot walkway out in the front, I mean, we did a lot of work with the community, and with the community input, this is what they wanted, and I'm just afraid if we just do what we're gonna do right now on paper, it's gonna get lost. So I'd rather see the entire focus of what was agreed upon, and then we can phase it in. But at least you'll be able to see what it will eventually look like. And again, I'm not saying things can't change, but that's what was agreed upon, so let's try to get that all in this summary, not just what we think we're gonna do right now.
Yeah, and Rich, I wanted to just support Councilwoman what she mentioned there. Thank you. If we look at where we are now compared to the original conceptual design, I think that we want to have a discussion about the things that are cut out, especially the major things, or we postpone to a later phase. But to Susie's point, I think we want them in the plan. So the bridges, the shed, if that's what we're calling it. The pier. I think that we originally talked about some flexibility around the timing on those items. The thing that's overlaying all of this too, that I think we need to be conscious of is how much we think the overall project is going to cost. And how we're going to phase that in. And I believe we also have a grant request
2.8 million.
for 2.8 million with Congressman Lawler, and if that comes through in its entirety, that could be a big part of the cost of the project. So, and I'm not saying that would affect the phasing, but it may allow us to do the later phases earlier.
Correct.
Right?
And I think Woodard and Curran is aware of that. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, and no, it's okay. At the end of the day, I think we've been very thoughtful and cautious on this project about the cost. and how we're going to phase it in. And I think, we'll continue to be. But to going back to Susie's point, I don't want anything to drop off the grid.
Okay.
Yeah. And Greg, when we did it, wasn't the bank going to put like $10,000 towards the rock wall, I thought, possibly? I'd have to go back to the contract, but
The agreement's from 2019, so I'd have to go look at some of the
Yeah,
floor
I
results.
think that that may have been in the
It certainly was
contract.
discussed.
I
don't
know
if
it was
made its
something
way into the
discussed
final
about the
agreement.
rock wall with the bank as well.
So, and we've asked Woodard and Curran, we're gonna reach out and have a conversation with the bank to see how they wanna have some of their, what was agreed upon in the agreement, how they wanna have that drive-through looking, where they want their 18 spaces, right? So all that is still, we're moving forward with that, and I don't think anything's it's being taken off as phases, right?
Yeah.
But it will always all be included, so, and I'll make sure that Woodard and Curran, we'll make sure that Woodard and Curran is fully aware of that. So they have drawing A, which is the drawing we started with, that we all agreed upon. This is what
yes.
is gonna end up there.
Yes, sir.
Break that out into phases for me, based on cost, what we can, so they, their question is, well, what do you have, right? What money do you have, right? So
Right.
I don't know what supervisor told them, I wasn't privy to that, right? So, if he told them at all. I don't even know if we gave him an answer, so I could be wrong. I'm throwing me under the bus. Sorry about that. So,
Okay.
but they're asking, what do you have, right?
Yeah.
We don't have we know we don't have all the money for everything.
Right.
But they'll phase it. They know the basic has to be there, and we can add those other little amenities as moving forward, so.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So,
Thank
yes,
you.
I hear you. I think they heard you loud and clear from the beginning when you interviewed with them. They're aware of that aspect of it, and they'll make sure that that's all there.
But we
Good,
do
thank
need
you.
to start moving forward with this project. It's been sort of like, planning for a while, and it's time to move forward. I think the most important thing is to start getting those parking spots ready for the bank, getting that taken care of, and then
Well,
phasing in as we need to.
You're correct, but the
Stabilization
first
is
phase
first.
is this is to finalize that design and make sure that we're gonna get rid of the flooding, that we're gonna make sure that we can make sure we have that green and gray balance that's supposed to be there. So, yeah, that's what Woodard and Curran is working on right now. They just need a little guidance from us, which is coming partly from this meeting, partly from a summary that was provided to the board, right? That's how they're gonna approach it, right? So as long as the board is okay with that, and if you're not, then either get me an email with a summary, or we can sit and talk at another time, whatever you guys want to do. I mean, that's how we would focus and move forward with it. But they are moving forward with it.
Good.
They're not just waiting for us, they are moving it. And they're looking at grants for us for some of this work also.
Yeah, we can give them that feedback that the council people are,
There'll be
asking
an
for
email
it.
out tomorrow morning.
yeah, and
Okay.
it's fine.
then
It's
It'll be
Yes.
long-winded, a whole bunch of pages,
all right.
just to keep you guys
No,
on.
it's
No.
fine. We have a lot of work invested in this project. And just to remind us non-engineers, the most expensive phase will be Phase 1. It'll be the remediation of the property, creating the parking lots, the parking lot, right?
I think maybe. I don't know that answer,
Okay.
so I need to get a little more in the weeds when they come forward with us with
Okay,
it.
fair
They're gonna
enough.
provide that info to us. So the answer is yes, because you have the hydraulics, the hydrology, you'll be looking at the banking, redesigning the drive-through, working on the spots, you got asphalt, you got parking, you got
Right.
park, right?
Yep.
So most likely, yes, based on those itemized listings.
Yep.
But if, Phase 2, going down 6N, ripping up concrete sidewalks and putting in new lights, that's not chump change, right? So.
Understood.
So I can't speak to that, and I can't speak to what might happen in 5 years
Okay.
with regards to that.
Okay, we just have to make sure we have the comptroller sitting behind you, make sure we have the money.
I feel the daggers in the back of my head as we speak.
Yeah, but retaining that water, if we have to build tanks, and it could be a monstrous number.
Correct.
If
Right.
it depends on what they come back with.
Right, it's really gonna be driven by what's going on underneath there. Lake Mahopac, while it's our friend
A
and our
lake is going
benefactor,
on underneath
it's
there.
also our enemy on this particular site because it
Always
will
has.
fill up from the bottom.
We have spent hours discussing the complexities around that, and to be quite frank, some of the engineering just eludes me, but
Same
in
here.
any case.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Rich.
have a good night.
15,000? Oh,
Five-
so,
50,000.
so, Rich, yeah, he said
landscaping.
the bank will contribute up to 50,000 towards landscaping. Yeah, so yeah.
That's
All
one
right.
tree.
Good night.
Not.
So,
And then.
Comp?
Yep, I just wanted to give a brief update on the comprehensive master plan. So the planning board has given their comments and or suggestions, recommendations to the town board. The town board has until the end of next Friday to get all of their comments back to the consultant. And then after that, we're going to go out to the public. And what we're hoping for, at least what I'm hoping for, is to vote on this October-ish. So I know, it's a long time coming, but we want to make sure that we're doing it right, that we're getting everybody's comments in, all the different concerns. I know that we also, I just want to pull it up so I don't paraphrase, but we hired Tracy from up in Lake George area to do a study on the lake, and she has been up here to Lake Mahopac, and her next steps are to conduct a research and develop a written report. She has spoken with one of the marinas. She's going to be speaking with another marina also to try to get some input, and she's also going to be going out on the lake. She went out on it in June. She's going to be coming back in July, and there's just a whole bunch that she's trying to get back. So hopefully we'll be getting some type of a recommendation from her or a summary from her as well. But I wanted to give you all an update of that as well, because that's all part of the comprehensive master plan as well. More so I think with the zoning part of it, but I just wanted to get that in. So hopefully this will be completed by October, but just like building a house, it never happens. So, maybe November, but my go-to date is the month of October to get it voted on.
thank you. Anybody? Nope. All right, so, Michael Carnazza.
Other than one quick comment on the last item. I do want to thank the planning board for all the hard work that they put into reviewing the master plan to give us their input on what they think should be in there. They really worked long and hard on that, and a thank you to them is overdue, so I just wanted to thank them.
Thank you. So, building codes enforcement, consider request to advertise for bids for property maintenance code, Town of Carmel, 11 Meadow Drive and 28 Duke Drive. Sir?
Yes, these are two properties. We've cleaned them both once before, or we got approval to clean them both once before, but the Meadow Drive one, they actually cleaned before we got to do it, so that was perfect. But they are also, the grass is about 1.5 feet tall. They say rats, I haven't seen any, but the neighbors claim there's rats there, so I would like to see about getting bids in, like I did on the other one that's at the bottom here, try to get the bids in. And wondering if there's a way that I can maybe come in front of you with the bids for the first time, or do I have to go get approval to get bids, and then see about getting approval? Just to speed it up one notch.
Those projects are usually well under the threshold, so when Mike comes here to do it, it's really kind
Yeah,
of
it's
belt
like
and suspenders.
$3,000 or something, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he can,
But if I get the bid before.
Get the proposals
I come to
before you.
And if you say, no, we don't do the bids are garbage.
it saves a step. As long as it doesn't hit the threshold, there's nothing else that needs to be done before you authorize it.
By the time I get the complaint that grass is tall, by the time I get through you, it's another almost month sometimes. And that's why
Right.
I'm trying to, if we can speed it up. If we can't, I understand. I know
Yeah,
this
no,
process.
come with some bids.
Save
Yep.
save you some heartache.
All right, so next
Absolutely.
time I'll do it that way.
Perfect, thanks, Mike.
So then, the next item is request consider to accept bid for property cleanup at tax map number 44.17-1-45.
This is the corner of Fowler Avenue and 301. We have been working on this for a long time to get this property clean. DEP, DEC, everybody's been involved. The tanks have been removed. Mr. Shannell was involved. We've worked on this for a while, and now all that's left there is a gas pump, some rebar, some bricks and blocks and things like that that the DEP or DEC, whoever it was, could not remove from the site. If we could get them removed, this is the cost to do it. That was the lowest of the 3 bids. It was pretty low, too. I don't have it in front of me, but it was,
Yeah, 4,500.
yeah, the highest one was over 10, so.
Yeah, it was
so we're
11,
pretty good.
11.5.
8, yeah.
Yep.
So,
Are we paying for that?
No,
we pay
the-
up front, and then bill the owner. The owner doesn't pay, generally. I mean, sometimes they do, but if they don't pay, then I believe Greg puts it through for a lien to the county? Is that
It goes
the
on the
correct word?
re-levy at the end of the year.
Oh, re-levy, that's the word.
So it'll show up on the January tax bill. It's
So
not-
we get
Get
made
the money
whole.
back from
Is
it.
that property already in foreclosure?
I don't know that. My guess would be probably not. The county's foreclosure process, they usually avoid tax foreclosing stigmatized properties because they don't want to be in the chain of title, which I understand.
For some reason, receivership rings a bell, but I could be wrong. Is that possible?
Could be in receivership based on the cleanup from the
That-
court.
yeah, something
But
to-
tax
of that nature.
foreclosure, I don't know offhand, but that's generally the policy. There's many parcels that, like Parent Junkyard, that they just won't take.
Do you have the status
The
of
gas
the,
station on Secor Road, same idea.
Yeah.
do you have the status of the outstanding summonses that are on that property? There were summonses, I believe, unpaid summonses? Fines, weren't
Not
they
my,
fine?
they would be the DEC fines, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, whatever fines
I
are
don't know what they
outstanding.
are.
Okay.
I could probably find out. I think Joe Charbonneau may have had those in one of the memos that we discussed, but I don't have it in my,
Not sure if that's cleaned up or not, paid, whatever.
I could check and see, but even if he does or doesn't, we still want to clean the property. The neighbors have lived through that for, I think it's been about 8 years. Maybe not.
Longer.
Been a while. Longer?
than
Okay,
that.
so
Maybe
even
14.
14,
Nine.
so 9.
These gas pumps, they don't have any
Nope.
toxic
It's the top
materials
piece. It's
or
only the top piece, not the tanks.
plutonium or-
The soil was contaminated. They did
So we
find
don't-
contaminants
we
in the
don't need to
soil,
worry
and
about that.
they trucked out about 20 to 30 tractor-trailer trucks full of dirt
Yeah.
Correct.
to New Jersey, to incinerator, burn it.
So there's
Thanks,
a-
Mike.
There's a big delta here in the bids. I mean,
Big delta.
Yeah.
12, I mean, do we have a sense, like, why there's such a gap here?
Sometimes people just go really high because they really don't want the job, and if you want to give it to them, they'll take it at that price.
And do we have any obligations to just make sure that these things go to the right place in terms of recycling and wherever they're supposed to go? I don't know.
The regulatory compliance is upon the entity that's doing the removal.
Okay, not on us.
It's not legally on you. So you can certainly make sure that any vendor who's performing the service ensures that it does as part of their agreement.
And then the town will clean up any of the right-of-ways that the town has in front of that property? I know there's a lot of grass that looks like town property.
Yeah, they'll mow right to the sidewalk. Is that what you mean?
Right.
Yeah, they'll mow right to
Yeah.
the sidewalk.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, whenever they do a maintenance, they go right to the sidewalks.
I don't think there's any sidewalk left there.
Yeah, but there's still a lot of.
They'll go right out to the
Yeah,
curb
there's a
then.
gravel, yeah. they-
Yeah.
Gravel and overgrowth in between.
So they'll probably move the fences, cut it, and then move the fence back.
How long has this taken?
Oh, my God.
9 years, apparently, if it was.
Really,
if it was
9
over.
years?
Or
9
longer.
years.
The
Well,
building's been standing there
Really,
for at
really
least that
long.
long.
We started this a long time ago,
Yeah, it's been a long time.
long
It's
time
got to
ago.
be closer to 14 years.
14? Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
So since '09.
yeah.
All right, so our fourth item is, again,
Thank you.
Michael Carnazza, Building and Codes Enforcer, consider request to return difference in permit fee for tax map 87.9-1-17, 534 Overlook Drive South, $417?
Yes, the gentleman, the owner of the house, gave me a call the other day and asked how I came up with the calculation. I opened the plans, recalculated everything, and it turned out I was wrong. There was a cathedral area that was, I didn't realize it, so I charged him as if there was a floor there, and there was no floor there. We charge based on each floor level, so it's gross floor area. and a cathedral area is not a floor area. So that's what the 417 is. It's a difference between what it should have been and what it is.
All right, perfect.
Pretty
Thank
simple.
you.
And then your last item is consider request to return the permit fee for solar panels, tax map 44.2-12. It's 251 Fair Street, Carmel, which isn't.
The house is in southeast, I think I said southeast.
Yeah.
The back property is in town of Carmel. So when they apply for building permit in Carmel, because that's where their kids go to school and everything else, their mailbox, when we type it, we have that address, not realizing the house is in the next town over, because the town line goes right through the middle of the property.
Wow.
So the house is in their town and the backyard's ours, so it was just, so I told them they had to go get the permit from the next town.
No big deal. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Mike.
Thanks for coming. So the sixth item is from our Highway Superintendent, Michael Simone. He's consider request to declare old equipment obsolete. It is a trailer, number 2. It's a 2007 Eager Beaver trailer that is no longer fixable. It's a
Okay.
normal thing that we do.
Yep.
This was the one that we replaced several.
I think so, yes, yes,
The rust is beyond reproach.
yes. An Eager Beaver. That's the same thing with the shredders are Eager Beavers, right?
Yes.
Not shredders, chippers. And then the seventh item is consider request to waive the notice requirement in section 64 of the New York State Alcohol Beverage Control Law with respect to liquor license for Blackfoot LLC doing business as Old Time New York. This is a letter from Bruno Joffrey Jr., and they're out of White Plains, and they're asking us on behalf of his client to waive Section 64, Subdivision 2A, and 99D. His client intends to file for a restaurant wine license serving wine, beer, and cider for the premises, which is located at 1895 Route 6, Carmel, New York. And they enclose the Liquor Authority forms. This, I looked on the map, this is over there between Kentucky Fried Chicken and the CVS up in Carmel. Yeah, so I assume it's the Chinese restaurant, but I'm not really sure which one it is. But it's one of those locations there in that CVS Plaza, the old Wall Bombs Plaza. Yes,
There's a
we
store
don't
in
know.
the corner there.
So this is a normal thing that we usually just waive. So we're just not taking action is what we're doing. Yeah.
We're not waiving fees.
Yeah, no, there's no fee. No, it's just, we're not, yeah.
Before, if you waive the 30-day window, they can go to State Liquor Authority.
Quicker.
Yeah. State Liquor Authority is the ultimate jurisdiction on issuing the permit, so
Yeah.
we do it as a matter, you do it as a matter of course.
And it encourages their business.
Correct, and it's
Yeah.
for new apps now.
Yeah.
It's not for renewals anymore, so.
No. And then the last item, Mary Ann Maxwell, Town Controller. Consider budget revisions April and May 2023. And I don't know, there's 20 pages here. It's like Rich did this.
I'll be quick, I promise. Okay, so this is to consider the budget revisions for April and May of 2023. The first one in the general fund is to provide for a payout of accrued vacation time in the town clerk, the engineering office, and the recreation office. That's a total of $7,142. Number 2, we're providing for the payout of accrued time for a retiree in the recreation maintenance department. Both of those come from our compensated absence fund balance, so it's not something that we have to budget for. I have always put money away for payouts of the accrued time. Number 3, we're providing for the police vehicle repairs from an insurance claim. We received $10,860 from insurance to pay for the repairs on that vehicle. Number 4, we're providing for the price adjustment for a purchase of dispatcher chairs. The chairs for the dispatchers came in, we transferred money from the police asset line, probably last time I did budget revisions. The price came in lower, so we're transferring the money back to the seized asset fund. So that's $365. Number 5, we're providing for the purchase of water rescue kits from grant funding, $3,500. Also from grant funding, we're providing for a showcase for local artists with exhibition of outdoor sculptures. This is at the Red Mills Park, for $1,700. Number 7, we're transferring for the support of engineering department functions of $9,000. It's coming from the engineering staff line into the engineering consultant line. Number 9, we're transferring for the purchase of a defibrillator at Town Hall. That was $2,100. That was moved from the building contractual line into the building equipment line. From the contingency line, we're transferring $9,530 for the HVAC contract. Also transferring $2,000 from the contingency line for a police night out, which is, I think, a community event that the police is holding in August, I believe, down in Chamber Park, I believe.
They call it National Night Out. It's a national.
National Night Out, yeah.
Night to
so-
get the community together, the police to, do law
Right.
enforcement, prevention, whatnot, crime prevention strategies with the community.
Okay. Yeah, so we're transferring $2,000 to help fund that, that cost. Also from the contingent line, we're transferring $9,400 from the, to cover the comprehensive zoning and planning review from the master plan balance that we are holding in the contingent line. Number 13, we're transferring for the cost to paint the gazebo at Red Mills, $2,975. And the last one in the general fund, transferring for e-waste day employee overtime, $1,143. This is coming from the contractual line, which the cost for the e-waste came in under budget, so we were able to transfer the money to cover the overtime. In the highway fund on page 2, we're providing for the payout of accrued time for a retiree of $48,457. In Carmel Water District number 8, we're providing and transferring for the transfer to the capital fund for the water tank project. So in Water District 8, the cost for the tanks came in a little bit more than what was funded in the capital fund, so we're transferring from the operating fund. The total transfer is $33,000. $20,000 is coming from the fund balance. In Water District number 9, we're also transferring $9,500 to the capital fund for the water tank project. Number 21, in Water District 13, there's been extensive emergency repairs in that district. I'm a little concerned about Water District 14, which is Red Mills. We're transferring $20,000 from the fund balance right now. The fund balance only has about $42,000 in there. So we could be coming back to similar to Water District 7. We did a couple years ago. We had to transfer, I think, $70,000 from the general fund. So it's a possibility we may have to put some funding into that. And then what happens is we pay it back over the next couple years into the general funds. So I'm going to, keep an eye on that, and I'll keep you up to date with that. But there has been extensive emergency repairs in that district. Sewer District 3 is a small district. We're transferring, providing and transferring for an unforeseen sewer lateral expense. That's a sewer district that's right up here. There's not a lot of homes in that district, so the funding is very small, so we had some extensive cost in that district. On the bottom of this page, drainage capital project, we're providing, recording the capital authorization of $200,000 in the drainage project. On page 3, in the special drainage project, this is the Birch Road. We're recording the 23 capital authorization. This is to fund the construction of the Birch Road project. I believe it's a construction. Yeah, the $697,000. Highway resurfacing capital project, $900,000. We're recording the capital authorization. Number 28 and 28 and 29, we're closing the highway special improvement capital project at $238, and Water District number 9, we're closing that capital project and moving those funds to the debt funds. The other three, the next 3 or 4 budget revisions involve the tanks, the capital tank project. Transferring money to cover the cost of these, and I just wanted to mention, part of it is borrowing, but we also did receive a $50,000 grant. So I'm basically providing for the expenses from that grant. And then we also did receive ARPA money, $198,040. So that's where you see, these budget revisions all involve the grants, but we're basically providing for it to, in anticipation of receiving that funding. So, and that was it. Okay?
Mary Ann, separately, did we get a picture yet of mortgage tax receipts through the end of May? I know the last report we got, it was dropping like a rock, right?
Yeah. May was a little bit better. It was
Okay.
94,000, if I remember correctly.
Okay,
I'll update the board at the end of, once I receive
Perfect.
June.
Okay.
I think through April was low. But
Okay,
I think
great.
if I recall correctly, May was a little higher, maybe 94,000 approximately.
okay, yeah.
Once I receive June, which would be,
Couple of weeks.
early July, I will update the board on where we are
Okay.
halfway through the year.
Perfect, yeah. I had wanted to talk to the board about that with the previous report, but I figured we might as well just wait
Yeah.
through May, June,
Yeah.
and see
Yeah.
where we are mid-year. But
Yeah.
it's really, I mean,
It has, yeah, and I'm concerned about the 2024 budget.
Yeah.
With that, because I think we're going to have to drop it a couple $100,000.
yeah.
You know.
I don't think it was unanticipated, but I don't think we were prepared for
It's such
how
a
sharp
drop,
of a drop it is.
yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
fallen off.
Yeah.
And
Well, the rates are so high,
that's our party money.
Yeah.
We have 10 interest rate hikes so far this year?
Well, so, okay, good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miriam. See you in a little bit. So comment-wise, we still have the farmer's market going every Sunday through October 22nd, and it goes from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Stop down at Mahopac Chamber Park, 953 South Lake Boulevard. They had some fresh strawberries this last Sunday. They were
Very good.
They were so good. They were so good. And a woman with Mediterranean food that my daughter brought home, I don't know how much stuff. The Sunset Concert Series, that's going to be Thursday nights from 7 to 9 at the Chamber Park. That starts on June 22nd. Andrea and the Armenian Rug Riders.
Very good.
So I actually said that without messing it up. Thank you. So do that, and the beach is open at Sycamore. There's times on the website. I'm not reading them this time. And also on the 4th of July, every year, the Norman Hathaway Big Band is there. It's a free concert at the Red Mills Passive Park on 6N and Hill Street. They shoot off a cannon. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good free concert if you like big band. Bring a lawn chair and snacks. That's on July 4th at 6:30 to 8:30. After we finish with the comments and all, we're going to be going into executive session. We have some more settlement litigation to talk about, personnel with the police chief, personnel with the comptroller. So anybody comments?
Just one comment. I know it's election season. We have an election coming up in June, and I know our building department has been enforcing the laws regarding signs. So all signs can't be displayed in the right-of-way of the town. So those that are, they've been removing them. So we are keeping an eye on that.
Good. Okay,
Just one. Happy birthday to the United States Army, 248 years old.
Oh, I missed that.
And today is an important day. If you're a soldier, you get dessert. So it's a big celebration.
So Flag Day and the birthday of the Army is the same day?
They are.
But it was in 1777. The Army.
The Army was formed June 14th, 1775. It's
So it
older than the
predates
United
the flag.
States. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
And who was the first commander? This is a quiz.
The first commander, not George
A
Washington?
gentleman from Virginia.
Not George Washington?
Washington, of course.
Not him? No, it's not a trick question? Yeah, I figured it was a trick question. So can we get a motion to close the meeting?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. See you on the 21st. I like it when it's in sevens, I can remember them.